guys, it's Lizette from Lily Soul, New York. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing well and having a great weekend. I am here today to talk about my latest project and also to discuss the yet another bombshell that we have received in regards to IG Design Group America, which is the company that owns the Big Four, the Big Five, whatever you want to call it. Well, the Big Four pattern companies: Simplicity, McCall's, Butterick, Vogue. It's a mess. With, unfortunately, the downfall of Joann's. It looks like a lot of companies are folding. Joann's was a place where everybody could get all of these crafting goods and, sewing and quilting and knitting and all that stuff. And unfortunately, now that it's no longer in existence, a lot of these companies don't have the place in which to sell the things that they make, and it has become quite, to me, quite the fiasco in regards to allowing people who create and need paint and knitting stuff, and whenever you're in a bind and you're doing something, you run to Joann's and you get what you need, or you go online and you purchase something from Joann's and it's it's in your home within days. Unfortunately, that's not as easy anymore. But from my understanding, they still are working as usual. What they have filed for bankruptcy is for their ribbon company, because under the umbrella of IG Design Group America, they have a lot of companies. The pattern companies are not the only things that they own, and so they're cutting their losses with that portion of, or those particular companies that they have that sold ribbon. So they're, I guess, trying to clean house and basically just cut things that are no longer serving them in any particular way. I guess the ribbon wasn't being sold, or isn't as popular as it should be, or that they would be profitable, and so they're cutting their losses with that. But the pattern company still is, of course, in existence and still working and functioning just like it always has. It's just that as a person who is a sewist, I tend to, because of what happened to Joann's, I think all of us are on edge, and we are just nervous that we have the potential to lose something else that's valuable to us. And although Michaels has apparently stepped up, I have not been to a Michaels here in New York yet. So I can't really, I should, but I can't really gauge on what the sewing section looks like for them right now. the Michaels that we have here are usually in very well-to-do areas of New York, and I don't live in a well-to-do area. So I will try to make a trip there to see what is what's available. I mean, you know, Michaels can be, it could really step up its game and really gain a lot of business if they just really cater to not just crafting and painting, but sewing and knitting in a bigger scale than they have in the past. Because as sewers that we are, we really need a place where we can buy fabric and notions and, you know, our knitting needles and our yarn. It's imperative that a lot of us have those things in order to continue to create and to do what we do and what we love. And I just feel like we have been receiving one hit after another, and it's just sad to me because I really don't want to see us all struggling just to create something that's beautiful and that we want to share. And this is a God-given gift that we have and that we've been given. It's unfortunate to have so many stores now folding because, you know, the money is not there, or because they mismanaged their inventories and their stores, and I don't know. I till this very moment have no idea why Joann's folded the way that it did. I still cannot wrap my head around why that all took place, or why it all happened, or what caused it to happen. You know, it was such a staple, this store, which I never knew of up until I started my sewing journey. I had never heard of Joann's. I didn't even know that Joann's existed until 2016. So, you know, it was news to me. But, you know, once I dived deep into the whole sewing journey, and I really just honed in on it and just went head first. I feel like I am now just struggling to stay afloat with all of these, what I call bad vibes, because my God, there's so much happening right now, and I feel like we're all just struggling to keep afloat with whatever goodness we can get our hands on. And for me, specifically, what that is sewing, like being creative. You know, sewing is not the only thing I do. I like making jewelry as well. There are other things that I would like to pursue as well as the things that I do. Sewing is just the tip of the iceberg, but you shouldn't feel limited in doing what you love, because stores are not carrying, and then now we have all these tariffs and things are more expensive and harder to get a hold of and take longer for them to arrive, and we have received one hit after another, and it's just really hard to try to get a hold of something that's good, something that makes you happy, that brings you joy, that lightens your load, that clears your mental space, that gives you a purpose. It's really unfortunate that we have come to this, and I pray to God that He continues to be merciful and gracious towards us, and that He allows us some breathing space from all of this at some point. Because I feel that we have been here progressively getting worse and worse, clearly, but that we've been here since 2020. And yeah, we have been receiving one hit after another, not just in the sewing community, but just the world in general. And I pray for everybody's well-being. I really do. And I hope that we can continue to get through it, however way we can. And for me, that is sharing my thoughts and my creations with all of you, and sewing and knitting and making things, making jewelry and making things, and it brings me joy. I feel like I was created to create things, because we are made in the likeness and the image of our Father. So it's been tough, going on social media and hearing certain things, and you're constantly in a state of waiting for the shoe to drop. But we have to keep our wits about ourselves and just use what we have and whatever we can find. And the upcycling, I pray to God, is not a trend, but the upcycling has taken off, and excuse me, and it's people are using old clothes and going to thrift stores, and we're doing things with what we can get our hands on, bed sheets, and and this is what's important. This is why we must continue to be creative and innovative and resourceful, because there's always going to be someone who's going to try to take from you the little bit of joy that you have. And unfortunately, that's always going to be the case, right? But as a people, we know how to continue on with what we are given and what we can scrounge up and what we have. And we know how, as a people, and if you know what I mean, if you know, as a people, we have been able to be resilient and to stand the test of time. And everything that has been thrown at us, we make it work. And a lot of times, that is what the enemy doesn't like. It's that we continue on, that we are resilient, that we make something out of nothing, because that is a God-given gift. So just continue to do that, and we'll be all right, because I mean, we have no other choice, right? And because we're not going to fold, because that's not even an option, and we're going to do what we need to do, and we're going to help those we're going to help those along that we need to help when we need to help them. It's as simple as that. We just keep doing what we do. Everything will be all right at some point. Well, enough about that. I just wanted to come on here and show you, because I believe my last episode, I don't even remember what I said, but I think I showed you the doll that I created, and this is Esperanza. I call her Esperanza, which is Spanish for hope. And yeah, so I finished her up, and I just think she's adorable, and she's very soft and squishy. And I didn't have, or I couldn't find, brown fabric, but I used muslin. I used what I had. I used remnants from other projects that I have done, and I created her body with muslin, which, it's just inexpensive fabric that we use to make mock-ups of things before we actually cut into our good fabric. So I have plenty of muslin laying around, and so I made her body out of muslin, and then her actual body I made out of fabric that I had thrown around from previous projects that I had, pieces that I had, because I don't throw the big pieces out. I try to keep them for like pockets and the inside of things. So, and I also, I've seen so many things on social media where they take scraps of fabric and they sew them together and they make a quilt, or they make a jacket or a vest. The sky's the limit. I've seen rugs and all kinds of things. It's just amazing the things that people come up with. So I felt like that's what I wanted to do with the dress. So I basically took a whole bunch of pieces of fabric that was cut up, and I sewed them together on muslin, and that's what I used as the backing for it. And I sewed a bunch of pieces on top. I had some fabric that had owls from a set of PJs that I did, and I cut those out. And I had some red fabric I made a heart, and I cut that out. And some of the fabric from my previous, I made a sewing covers, which I showed you in a previous post, that had scissors and it had a rotary cutter and things of that nature. So I took pieces of that out and sewed them on there. This is the back of it, and I think it's because she's supposed to be a rag doll, and so I figured if she's a rag doll, then she's supposed to be wearing rags, right? But she's supposed to still look cute. So I made that, and then I made the collar is removable, and I made that. Let's see here. I put a little clip there. But the collar is removable, and so is the dress. The dress is removable. And I'll show you the pattern that I used in a moment. I just wanted to show you how she looks, and that, she has options. So if you want to make her for someone you like or love, or who can use an emotional support rag doll, because at this point, who doesn't need emotional support? Okay? We all do right now. Because I know I do. Because it's a mess out here. Everybody's in their bag. You know how I do. Everybody's just up in their feelings, feeling a particular type of way about all kinds of things. We need love. And so if you can make something, anything, and give it to someone to make their day, to show them love, then maybe we can do that and just keep, passing it on and giving it forward to others. Just show people love. Show people appreciation. For no particular reason other than that they exist, that they hear, that they matter, that they're loved, that they are accepted. That is basically, that is one of the many reasons to make something and give it to someone. Just give it away and make somebody's day. It'll definitely make yours, because when people receive things unexpectedly, out of nowhere, with so much love and attention and thoughtfulness, it takes people aback, and you don't know how to feel about that, and you just you feel the vibe and you feel the love, and you're just like, wow, what did I do to deserve that? But you don't need to do anything to deserve it. Just the fact that you exist here is enough for you to be deserving of it. A word. Okay? A word. Anyway, so this is the dress, right? This is the dress portion. And it can be removed. It has, it has the strings to tie it, the slots for the arms. It's really cute. It's an adorable way. And then she has her skirt. And the skirt is also removable. And I made all of this out of just scraps. I had to scrap everything. The only thing that I had to buy was the yarn to do her hair. And that was, I had to go to my local fabric store, because thank God for small business and small business owners, because in my area, we had only one fabric store or craft store, and it's a ways from here, but it's not that far. I can walk it. It's not something I need to get on the train or hop in a car or take a bus. No, I can walk there. And it's been there for decades. My mother used to go there when I was a little girl. I remember going there with her all the time. And it's been around forever, and I'm so appreciative of that little store, because every fabric I have purchased practically is from that store. When I first started sewing, it wasn't so. I didn't go there as often. I wanted to try the online stores, or I was trying the online stores. But then the online stores, I used to purchase my fabric from fabric.com. I don't know if anybody remembers that store online. And they had the best prices. And then they were brought out by Amazon. Ugh. And so there it went. Because anything good, again, doesn't last. But we make do, like I said before, we make do with what we have, and we continue on. So I started going to this store rather than going online more frequently, because fabric.com was the place that I could purchase my fabric, and it wasn't that expensive. And also there's another fabric store. I think it's called Vogue Fabrics, if I'm not mistaken. They're also good. I think they're based in Chicago and some other place. Please don't quote me on that, but I think so. But anyway, I digress. I used all the fabric that I had, and I went and I just purchased the yarn for her hair. So, and then I had paint, and because I could not find, they ran out. And again, we have tariffs and things are not coming in as frequently as they should. They didn't have the safety eyes, so I couldn't purchase them. So I decided I had paint, and I painted her eyes, and I sewed on her lips, and I used the button for her nose, and I hot glued it on. It's not going anywhere. And then I have ribbon available, and I put ribbon in her hair to match her little outfit. Of course, you can see, right? If you have eyes, you can see that I have a theme. I have a passion for teal. Turquoise is my favorite color, and so is purple. Those are my favorite colors. And so whenever I see something in teal or purple, that's usually what I'm going to go gravitate towards. I try not to gravitate towards it too much, because it can be a little bit too much. But I just, those are colors that I love. They're not the only colors I love, but they are my favorites. So the skirt can be taken off as well, and she's squishy, and she's got little ballerina shoes, and I just think she's adorable, and she's a good, she's a good buddy to give someone, a little girl or a little boy, to sleep with and to play with. And so, I figured I can show you that I completed that. That's done. And the pattern that I used was 8402. And it's a simplicity package pattern. And I did view C. I believe that's the one that it is. Or view A, sorry. It's view A. I made her. And I think that they're adorable. They're so cute. And I want to make more. I'm completely and honestly, I'm hooked. I'm so hooked that I created another one, but she's not from, she's from a different pattern maker. So I haven't finished her yet, but this one is, and I haven't given her a name. I have to work on my face painting and making the face, but I haven't sewn her hair on. I just have it pinned for the time being. I did give her earrings because she does have ears. And because, you know, we New York girls, we love our earrings and we love our hoop earrings. We're all about that. But I wanted to show you that I created another one. The maker of this pattern is called Alice Bear, the Alice Bear Shop, and I came across her right here on YouTube. So if you put it in Alice Bear Shop, her information should come up. And she does have a website where you can purchase her, or I believe it's on Etsy, or I think it's on Etsy. But she has a link to her shop where you can purchase her pattern for her dolls, and it's really cute. She does such a beautiful job, and she has a sewing tutorial. She has a playlist to show you step by step of how to make this particular doll, or this particular rag doll. She gives you information on how this dress is not from her, it's from one of my dolls that I created, but she shows you how to make the shoes and the dress, the bonnet, how to make the doll, come up with the doll, how to try to paint the face and things of that nature. So she has a whole playlist that shows you how to go about that if you're interested. Again, her name is Alice Bear on YouTube, and she does have a shop where you can purchase the pattern and the pattern for the dress that the doll wears, among other patterns for toys and things of that nature. So yeah, I have been on my doll making mission, just trying to heal my inner wounds and my inner child wounds. Because we carry around with them, unfortunately, in ways that we don't even know that we are, and it affects our lives and our relationships with everyone we come across. And so I'm on that particular healing journey at the moment. And I figured making dolls is a wonderful way of celebrating the little girl in me and showing her love and giving her love and giving her a time to play, because unfortunately my childhood was stumped in a lot of ways when I was younger, and so I had to grow up a lot quicker than I should have, unfortunately. And I think a lot of women and a lot of men have had to go through that in their life, unfortunately. And you know, we didn't inflict the wounds, and we're not responsible for the wounds, but we are, in our adulthood, responsible for healing them. And so this is my way of healing that. So yeah, I am very busy making stuff, and I hope you are too. And I will catch you around on the next one. I think I went over my time frame of 30 minutes. But I wish you all a blessed week, and I will see you again real soon. And just keep creating, keep doing, keep, putting good vibes out there, and showing people love. It has an unbelievable way of coming back to you. Take care. Love you guys. Bye.